The time is 2 p.m. Good afternoon. This is Market View brought to you by the Eswatini Revenue Service. My name is Nosile Sitole. Stick with me for the next 30 minutes as I bring you the latest insights on business and financial trends. In today's Tax Talk, we delve into the topic of tax compliance for individuals and businesses. Throughout the tax filing season, many people often seek clarity on how to navigate the process. But first, let's have a look at news making headlines in the business world in Eswatini today. The World Bank has identified three key policy pillars for economic growth, which include enhancing resilience through effective macroeconomic management with prudent fiscal and monetary policy, stimulating job creation through private sector development by improving the enabling environment, and providing better and more affordable services through efficient public spending. The government has welcomed the World Bank Economic Update Report and its recommendations and stands ready to implement its recommendations.
Digital technology holds an immense potential for Eswatini. We know that bridging the digital divide is not just about connectivity, it's also about opportunity. Digital technologies can unlock and create new markets. Through digitalization, government services can reach the most underserved areas and citizens, not just only ensuring inclusiveness, but also facilitating improvements in service delivery and bridging the trust deficit between the government and the people.
The Minister for Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Tambo Gina, says the government is aware of the challenges and existing gaps in the country's digitization efforts.
The key barriers remain. One, digital access is still out of reach for too many, especially in rural areas. Digital illiteracy and advanced skills must be built to ensure our workforce is ready for the economy of tomorrow. And that, innovation and entrepreneurship must be supported more deliberately if we want to see local solutions thrive in the digital age. From the perspective of national planning and development, this agenda is critical. The role of my ministry is to ensure alignment of priorities, targeted resource allocation, and long-term vision. To this end, the recommendations from this report will feed into our upcoming reviews.
Honorable Savannah Mazia, the Minister for ICT, highlighted several digitization initiatives currently underway.
We also want to add another 90 services in the next 36 months. These are government and sometimes non-government related services. We've also handed over an inpatient digital system to the Ministry of Health in record time. We've also been able to develop and complete critical government systems such as the Deeds Registration Information System, the Road Permit System, and the Police Academy System. Some of the systems that we're working on are creating a social register for the Office of the DPM to ensure that that office is able to capture all those who are disenfranchised and be able to manage that process. We're also able to ensure that anything you want to pay in government will be paid for in a system that we're going to be introducing, so you don't have to go to the revenue services offices. We're also looking to be able to have apps like child protection apps, livestock tracking, school registration systems, school management systems for teachers, digital addressing, and also supporting e-commerce systems in the country.
The Minister for Finance, Honorable Neil Rickenback, pointed out key sectors where digitization can be effectively leveraged.
Let me give a few examples of where digital transformation can boost productivity and hence economic growth here at home. The first one being in agriculture. Eswatini's farmers lack access to timely weather forecasts, market prices, or financial services. With digital platforms, we can connect farmers to buyers, provide mobile extension services, and offer tailored crop insurance. The second one is education. Through digital learning platforms, we can bridge rural and urban disparities strengthen teacher training, and provide students with new pathways for growth. The third one being healthcare. E-health systems can improve patient records, supply chain management, and enable remote consultations, especially in rural areas. The fourth one being public service delivery. As we are seeing in the launch of Government in Your Hand mobile platform, digital tools make services faster, cheaper, and more transparent.
The World Bank Economic Update report states that a downturn in SACCO receipts revenues is expected to weaken public finances, with fiscal deficit increasing to 3.5% of the GDP this year and 4.5% in 2026. It further states that SACCO revenues will see government revenue declining to 30% of the GDP this year and 26.2% next year. For ERS Tax Talk, Nelson Langamandla, Derek Msibi, and Sikumbuso Mavimbela, Mbabane.
The World Bank is urging Eswatini to fast-track its digital and economic transformation by investing more directly in the Eswatini Post and Telecommunications Corporation and supporting local digital startups. Speaking at the launch of the World Bank Economic Update report at UN House in Mbabane, World Bank Senior Digital Specialist Paul Searden says while mobile coverage in the country is high, internet use remains worryingly low.
EPTC is the exclusive provider of wholesale capacity into the market, and so being able to address inefficiencies in that segment of the market, being able to lower costs, create a more sustainable provider of services into that market segment will have a downstream effect on being able to bring down prices in the retail market. And looking more long-term at the opening up and liberalisation of the market and bringing it more towards a market based on open access principles is something that we really do see will have a transformative effect on being able to close that usage gap by bringing those service costs down. And then being able to now move forward from the Government in Your Hand strategy towards overcoming some of the institutional fragmentation to coalesce around the strategy is obviously key. And then focusing again on being able to drive local skills and local entrepreneurship to really contribute towards the economic development and jobs agenda, which is so critical at the moment for countries all around the region.
And now we'll catch a night break. When we come back, we're in conversation with the ERS Text Talk.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Welcome back. Today we're talking tax returns. Are you ready to file yours? The Eswatini Revenue Service is here to break it down. Income tax returns for 2025, preparation for submission. If you earned income from any source last year, you are legally required to file a tax return. To help us understand what to prepare, how to submit, and why it matters, we're joined by Nkosi Mahlalela, Manager for Taxpayer Service, and Nduduzo Dlamini, Manager of Marketing and Communications. stay tuned as we unpack this. Very good afternoon to you both, and thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'll start with you, Cebo. What, according to Section 33 of the Income Tax Order, taxpayers must declare income from all, emphasis on all sources, right, from all sources. Now, what are the consequences of non-compliance? But let's start with defining voluntary tax compliance, and then we'll get into the consequences.
Thank you very much. A good afternoon to our viewers today. So just to take our viewers through what is voluntary compliance. It's one thing to be compliant. It's one thing for ERS to go around, remind people about deadlines, encouraging people about deadlines. But it's another thing to just have this conviction in you where you personally take tax and you take the initiative of paying tax, administering tax, and sorting for assistance. But of course, ERS has made it easy for our clients. It's not like it's just yours to push to be compliant. But voluntary compliance is when you know you are generating income in the country during the year of assessment, you have accrued income, or you are registered somewhere. So you take the initiative to approach the ERS, but of course we've made it easy for you as well.
If I don't approach the ERS, what happens then?
Definitely we will come for you in many ways. Legal means definitely. The Section 33 gives the Commissioner General also the rights to come for you. But of course, we are a service, so it's not like we will come and kill you.
Right. Nduduzo, I want to come to you. The ERS has taken an evidently more visible, people-centered approach to communication. What is driving this strategic shift, and what do you hope that it achieves?
Okay, great. Thanks, Notsile, and good afternoon again to the viewers. So I think Cebelongo's had already touched a bit that we are more of a service than being an authority. We do know that in the past we were authority, but we are now more of a service. So as a service, we are focusing on education, making sure that we drive education on the ground. So as we know that currently we are driving a campaign called Bafunzise, where we are going around towns, just making sure that we are able to educate our tax people about what's tax, what's being tax compliant, what you need to do, what registration needs to be done as you continue with those businesses as we go around. So it's quite critical for us to be able to engage, also get some feedback from the citizens and tax people to tell us if we probably could do these things in this way that would assist us. But just lastly, to also touch base on that, so we are on the ground, but we also trying to make sure that we're visible on social media and digital platforms as where we are able to reach more people than when we are going on the ground.
Your Bafunzise campaign, how effective has it been to ensuring that individuals actually do come through and they pay their tax obligations?
So it has been very good. I think from the previous towns we were visited, we did see the numbers showing. We did see people really engaging with our content. It did show that there is a gap for more education for us to push, which we are trying to push more. So currently we are starting on the towns, but we are looking to go forward, even visiting Tinkhundla, so that we make sure that we touch every person or every citizen in the country, just to understand in terms of tax compliance and how best would they work with us as a service. Also to gather the information in terms of what feedback would assist us to work properly hand in hand with them.
Okay, Cebo, whether I'm an individual or I'm a business, what documentation do I need to have to ensure that I hand in my tax returns?
Okay, thank you very much. As an individual who's expected to file tax, by the way, the notice for filing income tax returns 2025 is already out there. All these media platforms that ERS has provided, you can get our notice. We've made it available. And in that notice, it is specified who is expected to file an income tax return. So in the case of an individual, let's say for instance, you are earning the employment income which is above maybe 3 million, including your fringe benefits. We do expect you to provide your tax certificate, which is your individual employment tax certificate, which you get from your employer. You need to prepare that one. But even before we get into the documents, ensure that you are registered registration is one of the pillars of compliance. Ensure that you are registered, and also ensure that you have activated your TaxEase account so that you can access your profile. In the case of businesses, we do expect businesses to use their income statements as well as their balance sheet. Also, their asset register can be a good source of information even as they complete the income tax return. So everywhere where you've put in information in terms of your operations for the year 2025, we expect you to please put that in order so that when you go into TaxEase, you won't have an issue when filing or when completing your income tax return.
Right. For employees, withholding tax certificates is often required, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, for companies, I think it says only a public officer or delegation can submit their return. What does it take? What documentation is needed to delegate this authority, and how is it verified?
Okay, there's a document, it's there in our website, we call it Power of Attorney, where a company has nominated a public officer, but the public officer probably is not available. They can pass on or rather they can delegate the obligation or the power to file on behalf of a company, so then they can nominate any other individual. With that nomination, it is not permanent. It lasts only for 12 months and it's renewable if only the public officer is impressed by that power of attorney. Power of attorney can be passed to, say, tax practitioners as well, because usually with the public officer, we expect that it is an internal individual also who holds a position of power. But of course, they can pass this power to other individuals, say maybe internally or as well as external, being your tax practitioners.
Right. Those are the ones for you. In an environment where public trust is hard-earned, how do you position the ERS as an enforcer and a partner in nation building?
So I think firstly from the campaign we were just trying to drive education. So from that we are already just getting a bit of feedback. But for us, again, I think what we're doing is there's a bit of campaigns which we are running through our social media platforms. We've also recently launched our TaxPal app, where we encourage people to download and use. So part of those platforms, that's where they get to see some of the work we're doing. They're able to also interact with us directly through WhatsApp lines as we continue to build some trust around that. But lastly, there is a campaign we're also looking to kick off with partnership with the government, where we'll then be rolling out some of the things which where we are doing around in terms of the tax money which is being collected and what is being done around that, to also assist to build that trust as people see us to continue working and collecting their tax.
As you expand in these campaigns, how do you measure their impact and reach?
So there's different platforms. I know right now we'll be kicking away some of the surveys where we do interact with some of the people who've already interacted with us, where we would ask them to share some feedback, rate us. And then also we are in the process of acquiring a digital platform which will assist us to gather some of those feedbacks and be able to create a dashboard for us to be able to utilize as we continue to work and educate on the ground.
All right, Ixebo, your office is big on tax education. Right now, what are new strategies or tools being deployed to ensure that both individuals and businesses understand their tax obligations?
Okay. Over and above us collecting tax on behalf of government, I'm sure you'll recall that in the past we were referred to as Eswatini Revenue Authority. Mm-hmm. We intentionally changed our name to show that we are a service. We want to come down to the level of every individual, every business running in the country, so that we make, or rather, we are intentional also on breaking the compliance barriers that could probably hinder people from being tax compliant. From our perspective, we are intentional to believing that when we see someone or an individual or even a company not being compliant, it's because they don't know. Mm-hmm. We believe that there is ignorance. So that is where we start. Everything begins there. We even have a campaign.
Is it ignorance or just a matter of communication, a barrier there?
We believe that you don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we believe that you don't know. Hence, we are intentional in educating you and hand-holding you, not just give you information. We hand-hold and ensure that we also offer post-service so that we ensure that you are able to comply.
Okay.
We have a campaign that we launched and it's still ongoing. We call it Sonzela's Kulum.
Okay.
It's exactly that. We say don't die in your corner, because with tax and its complication probably, sometimes people think there's a lot that they need to pay, only to find that is staggered. It depends on the threshold where you are. Someone thinks there's a lot that is owing the commissioner, only that if only they were operating in the open and they allowed us to assist them, you'd find that you don't even need to pay tax because it comes in stages, so it depends how much you're making. So we're very intentional in educating our clients and simplifying our content as well, because they are not the same, they're not, even their level of literacy is not the same. With the campaign that Nduduzo highlighted on Bafunzise, we are going door to door, because we picked in the past that sometimes we call our clients to maybe set up where it's like a workshop. They're busy, they're producing. So we also, because through the feedback that we're getting from our clients, they would make valid reasons of not attending workshops. So we have become very intentional to say, at the end of the day, they need to get the information, they need to be educated. Before we come in and say penalty, interest and all that, they need to know what is expected of them. So with Bafunzise, more than us just educating them, we also creating a platform where they are able to voice out their struggles in terms of compliance. We are able to hold them in their own offices, in their own shops. So it's a door-to-door campaign, and we really hope to cover the whole country. And the reception that you're getting from the clients out there is really, it's amazing and it's awesome, and they're opening their doors and they're able to take advantage of the opportunity that the ERS is offering. It's also a great opportunity for us because we're also getting feedback from our clients.
Okay, the tactical nature of tax, how do you balance it with, the need to communicate in a language that resonates with the rural Eswati, with the informal Eswati? That one's for you.
Okay. I think even in terms of how we offer our service, it's not one channel.
Okay.
That shows that it's not like we have one blanket across everyone. We know that our clients come from different walks of life. We still offer physical services where we still have our physical service centers around the big cities of the country, even though we are moving digitally, to the extent that with the new portal that we've introduced, TextEase, the self-service portal for our clients, we say even if you don't have a computer, even if you don't have connectivity, we have made kiosks available in our service centers. That's how far we have gone in terms of simplifying tax, simplifying compliance, and making it doable and possible. Because it's not like we are excited to collect penalty. Yes, we will collect. We need to collect in terms of the principal and all that. It's not like it excites us to collect penalty. So for us to assist our clients not to find themselves
in penalty,
and against the law and whatnot, we really need to empower them. So we are big on that. Hence, we are simplifying to the point that even our material, there's an income tax regime that we've introduced. We call it presumptive tax. That one really targets clients who make zero income to 500,000. So if you made 0 to 50,000, the tax that you pay there is 0%. And then if you make anything above 50,000 to 500,000, the tax that you pay there is 1.75%. That's how far down we want to go with our clients. So even with the material that we take out, we've gone even as far as interpreting it or rolling it out in Siswati, not only just English.
Thank you very much, Tebo. Nduduzo, can you wrap it up for us? What's one message that you would like our audience to walk away with in terms of having a relationship with their tax, but also having a relationship with the ERS?
I think the one key message for us is to just say we are more of being a service. We're not an authority. We're here to work with Eswatini as we collect tax. We are happy to get also feedback from them on terms of how best we can improve. And we are also happy to take it to a next level where we are going digitally, make sure that it's easy for them to access our platforms. Otherwise, in terms of that, anything else they want to get, they are more than welcome to contact us through our websites or social media platforms, or just go text us on WhatsApp, where they can be able to reach us for any questions or comments.
All right, very well understood. Thank you very much, Ngozi. Yeah. They are not just an authority, but they are a service. That was the ERS. Cebo Lenkosi Matlalela and Nduduzo Lamini bringing us ERS Text Talk this Thursday. We'll catch a break when we come back. In-house economist Sanele Sibia.
Hi, I'm Golda. I work here at the IMF. Our aim is to provide the best possible advice on economic policy to our member countries, helping them to create conditions so everyone prospers from economic growth. One question our economists are always getting: how can we reduce poverty and foster inclusive growth? There are a few ways to think about it. Some say the government should be heavily involved in the economy, with regulations to keep people safe and high taxes that fund and support a healthy, well-educated and inclusive society, even if it's at the expense of higher growth. Others believe that the government should have little or no part to play in the economy. Lower taxation means more money in everyone's pockets. More individual freedom, they say, means more economic growth overall. But maybe there's a target we all could be shooting for: the best policies on inclusion and growth. Essentially, inclusive growth is about making the economic pie bigger and sharing those slices more widely. So, how do we get there? By aiming for a middle ground. Both sides mostly recognize the need for social safety nets, public pensions, unemployment insurance, food programs. These measures prevent extreme poverty and provide a basic standard of living. At the IMF, inclusive growth is central to our work because reducing poverty is in everyone's interest. Part of having a free and equitable society is ensuring we all benefit from its growth, no matter who we are. And it's not just about creating a fair and equal chance to succeed for individuals, regions, or countries. It's about distributing growth fairly for future generations too. Overall, inclusive growth is based on the idea that wealth creation, economic freedom, and equal opportunity can and should coexist.
Welcome back for our market analysis segment. I'm joined by our in-house economist Sanele Sibia. Good afternoon. Briefly, we've seen a hive of economic activity this week, and as we close off the week, tomorrow we're expecting it's D-Day rather in South Africa, 30% tariff. What are the numbers saying? How's it looking? What can we expect?
Thank you, Notsile. So when we're looking at the numbers, it's a bit of a mixed picture today in all trade. When you look in the U.S., there's a bit of a reversal in the numbers there because we saw what the Federal Reserve has done. They kept interest rates steady, and they are not showing any signs of letting off. Then in Europe, what we are seeing is something somewhat of a mixed picture as well, just like one that is similar to the U.S. So it's a couple of things there. It's an issue of the uncertainty in terms of what happens tomorrow. It's a big day in tomorrow's market, for global markets. So everyone is just looking what's going to happen, who's getting tariffed, who's not getting tariffed, and what is getting tariffed, what is not getting tariffed. So we're seeing that bit of a mixed picture there, and we know that within Europe there are still some talks around that framework. Framework is there, but it's still being tweaked. So if you look at the numbers, you'll see that Frankfurt and Paris are just somewhat in the red, with London being in the green, driven by earnings overall. When we saw earnings coming up with things, stuff like your Rolls-Royce performing very well. And then in Asia, mixed picture again, because tomorrow we're seeing quite a number of Asian countries coming in. We've seen South Korea coming with a deal, and we know there is an issue with India there. We saw President Trump threatening 25%. So now that also trickles into South Africa, because we know that South Africa is part of the BRICS compendium, and President Trump seems to be targeting those BRICS countries. So that's why we're seeing that. But otherwise, when you look at your precious metals, they seem to be signaling the fact that the uncertainty has returned into the markets, and the Lilangeni has actually lost value against the dollar and the euro. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spear, for that analysis. Well understood. We'll look out for the numbers next week. But from me and the team, until the next Market View ERS Talk, thank you so much for joining us. Take care.
The fact that the German Foreign Minister, Johann Wadephol, is considering supporting a two